Hi, Ira. You can, I guess, now open your mic and open your camera. Are you able to unmute yourself or open your camera? What? Hi, Ira. Are you able to open your camera?
I didn't know. Can you hear me now? Yes. Okay. Can you see me? Yeah. Perfect.
Yes, now I can see you and I can hear you clearly. Great.
Sure.
So we already have 26 members waiting in the lobby. You know the drill. We'll start
Yeah.
off now
Take your
that we've
time.
done it. We've
Take
done
5 minutes
multiple
and
times.
then we can start.
Yeah. So should I let the attendees in now that we have already 26 members waiting in the lobby?
It's up to you. I mean, you can take your time,
Yeah.
whatever. Whenever you'll say, I'll start.
Yeah, okay. So I think I'll let them in since people are waiting since 15 minutes, so I'll just allow them. Yeah?
Okay, sure.
Okay. And Ira, this is for before I let members in, this is for the entire our clientele. Like there's not one corporate, there are
Mm-hmm.
multiple corporates in this. This is that session.
Okay. Okay, I'll message you, huh? Something.
Okay. Now there's nobody in the call yet, so you can let me know.
Okay, I wanted you to take some screenshots, please, for our.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah,
Okay,
I will.
thank you.
Don't worry. Okay, so I'll let everybody in now. Hi, Ira. Good morning. I believe
Good
we are good to
morning.
start.
Okay. I can start, right? You don't have
Yeah.
any intro or something. Okay. Good morning, everyone. And if you're joining from a different time zone, I'm not sure if we all are in Middle East, but good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. I'm so glad you are here. And I genuinely, by the way, mean it. Not because your HR have sent you this link. I think this is something we all go through. This is the foundation. This is we all need a sleep, and I think most of us have a very disturbed sleep, especially corporate workers. My name is Ira Naim, and I'm a clinical psychologist, DHA licensed, and I'm also the founder of Mir Psychiatry Clinic. Now, bear with me because over the next 45 minutes, we are going to talk about something that affects almost every single person I know, personally, professionally, clinically. So, we are going to talk about sleep, but not in the way that you might expect. So this is not going to be a lecture. There will be there will be some slides full of bullet points. Maybe you need to take a screenshot. Maybe you will take a screenshot and never look back at it, but this is going to be a conversation between you and me. So before I start anything, I want all of you, and let me check how many people are we right now. A lot. Okay, that's great. So I want all of you to go in the chat box and write a number how many hours last night you had a sleep. I'll go first. I had 8 hours. So write a number how many hours you slept last night. I had 8 hours. Let's all share with each other. Let's see. I need at least 20 responses. We need some numbers. We need some data. 5777. Okay, great. 655 666 8 4. Wow. 7. Okay. 7 6 7.5 5 7 3. I can see 2 6.5 5 4. That's amazing. All of us have a very different number. Great. Perfect. Thank you so much, everyone, for sharing these numbers with me. Usually, my sleeping hours are 7, 7.5, sometimes 8, sometimes 6, sometimes 5. I mean, it really depends on the kind of routine we had, the kind of day we had before uh, having a sleep. So I think we all can agree some days it can fluctuate, but most of the time we all go through maybe 7 hours of sleep. Okay. Thank you for sharing. Let me- Okay. Now I want all of you to close your eyes for a second, just for a moment, and imagine it's 2 a.m. The room is completely dark. Your body is genuinely exhausted. Your eyes are heavy. Your muscle is telling you to stop, but your mind is thinking about that email reply. Your mind is keep replaying something that someone said to you maybe 3 weeks ago. It's maybe mentally organizing your kitchen cupboard, or it's planning what to cook next Tuesday. It's just that your mind does not stop, but everything else in your body wants you to stop. So, sound familiar? And I think most of us go through with this because most of the people I know, they tell me the same thing. My brain just does not stop. So if your brain does not stop, I want you to know this is so important for us to pay attention to that more than that we know or more than that we understand. And this definitely does not mean you are broken or you are weak, or maybe you do not have anxiety yet because you cannot sleep, or maybe because you're not failing at some basic human function. Actually, if you're on a bed and fully exhausted and it's 2 a.m., you have perfect light, perfect temperature, perfect bed, but still your brain cannot stop. It means your nervous system is stuck. And there is a specific reason why. And today we are going to talk about that reason. And we are going to learn how to actually fix it. Now, let's talk about little bit of numbers, because as I said, most of the people I know, they tell me the same thing. So it means it's a global pandemic. It's a sleep crisis that most of us go through. So if we like little bit zoom out for a moment and think, I think a lot of us believe that our sleep problems are personal, as if it's only happening to me. It's just me. I'm the one who cannot switch off. But I want you to show that 62% of adults worldwide report poor sleep quality. That is not a minority. It's not even a 50%. This is most of us. One in three people regularly get less than 7 hours of sleep at night. And specifically for those of us in the UAE, 45% of residents report insomnia or sleep disturbances symptoms, nearly half of the people in the country. Okay. Now, I want to ask one thing. How many of you have ever said, I will sleep when I'm dead? Like we really wait until we are fully exhausted to go on bed. And I think most of us go through that because, you know, um, and then we say that we wait in the night. Many people are actually saying yes. Um, Most of us, we will stay either on our couch or on our bed or on our phones and literally waiting for our body to be in that state where I am fully dead and then I'll go to sleep. And then actually we wonder why our mental health is struggling. Sleep deprivation triples your risk of developing a mental illness. You have to understand, if you don't sleep, there are 3% more chances that you will develop depression and anxiety or any sort of mental illness. This is not me who's saying this number. This is by so many years of research. It means there is a 3-time risk. Now, this is not a lifestyle issue. This is a public health crisis. And I'm so glad for Shivani actually to arrange this webinar because this is one of the most important um, part of our life that we actually ignore and we don't pay attention. Now, little bit, I will not go a lot into science because I think most of you have attended webinars with me before, but it's very important for you to understand that sleep is fully controlled by your brain. Our brain is actually an organ, and all of us have to accept it as an organ, and you have to accept that your sleep is fully controlled by your brain. And here we will not go too much into detail, but I want you to remember little bit of few terms. And the first term, I think most of you have heard this from me before, is amygdala. So when you don't sleep, what happens? Your amygdala that usually is here is hijacked. Your amygdala is the emotional alarm system in your brain. When you are sleep deprived, it becomes 60% more reactive to threat or danger or to stress. Everything feels bigger. Everything feels more urgent. Everything feels more personal. You know, has someone ever snapped at a family member over something completely small? And then 3 hours later, you thought, why did I react like that? And the answer was 4 hours of sleep. You know, all those people who mentioned in the chat 4 hours of sleep, it's literally because of those 4 hours of sleep. The next one is prefrontal shutdown. Your prefrontal cortex is the part of your brain that does logic, decision making, self regulation, keeping you from saying things you will regret. So when you are sleep deprived, this part of your brain goes offline and you literally cannot think as clearly. You are not being dramatic. When you feel foggy, your brain is actually less capable of complex thinking. You are not using your brain in that moment. Now, the next one is memory consolidation fails. Here is one that most people do not know. You do not just sleep to rest your body, you sleep so that your brain can file the day's memory, process emotions, and clear mental clutter. No sleep means no processing, no healing, no recovery, no learning. The breakthrough, for example, you had throughout your day, whatever you learned at work, whatever task you had, whatever new information that you have absorbed from the world, it will not go into the long term memory. Your brain will not be able to process if you don't go to good sleep. Now, the next one is the lymphatic system, the one no one actually talks about. This is my favorite one, by the way, to share because it usually makes people go very quiet. Your brain has its own waste clearing system that only activates during deep sleep. It literally washes toxins out of your brain, including proteins that are linked to Alzheimer's and dementia. So when you skip deep sleep, this system does not run. And it runs only when you are in deep sleep. So if you don't sleep, whatever the clutter you had in your brain, it will stay in your brain. It means if we don't clear the clutter out of our brain every day when it's needed, there are more chances of Alzheimer's and dementia. So, sleep is not a rest, sleep is a maintenance, and your brain is a machine that needs it. So, the first learning for us today is sleep is not a privilege, sleep is not a rest, sleep is a maintenance for your emotional, mental, and physical health. Now, the second point that's very important for most of us to learn about sleep, and I think most of you have heard this term, it's called circadian rhythm. It's a very scientific term, but your body basically, because most of the sleep problems are not about what happens when you are in bed. They are about what happens in the 12 hours before you get into the bed. Your body runs on a 24-hour biological clock. This is what we call circadian rhythm. And it is doing things all day long. Things that either set you up for a great sleep or terrible sleep, whether you are paying attention or you are not paying attention. So, what happens? 6 a.m. cortisol starts rising, and you all have to pay attention to this because this is our 24 hours. This is what our body go through 24 hours without even us realizing it. So today is a chance for us to actually learn. So what happens at 6 a.m.? Cortisol starts rising. Your body is designed to wake up at 6 a.m. This is not your enemy, this is your biology. 10 a.m. is you hit peak alertness. Once you are awake by 6 or 7, by 10, you are at peak. This is when your brain is genuinely operating at its best. 2 p.m. is the famous midday dip. And I think most of us feel it. I mean, I feel it. After lunch, I'm like bit drowsy, and all I want is to take a nap. So this is biological. It's not laziness. Every human on earth has this. By if you wake up at 6, by 2 you are going to feel bit lazy. 9 p.m. is melatonin starts being produced. Your brain is trying to get you ready for sleep. And most of us are doing something that blocks this completely. Because if you don't have enough melatonin, I think you will not be able to sleep. And it's not me who's saying, it's the science. Now, I think most of you know what happens and what blocks our melatonin. I think it can be like your work email at 10 p.m., WhatsApp argument at 11, scrolling on TikTok. Um, so I think maybe doing anything after 8 p.m. will block your melatonin. So when you expose your eyes to blue light after 8 p.m., your brain literally stops producing melatonin. I think it is still daytime, and then you are surprised that you are lying in bed midnight feeling wired, like fully, like you are active. Now, stress and overthinking, I know it's like this is where sleep stops being a physical problem and becomes a psychological one. And this is exactly where we are going next. Because, yes, we do understand that most of us cannot really switch off our phones and our brains even after the working day. We stay on our either on phones or video games or TV or doing something. I think hardly there will be someone who actually reads a book before bedtime. So now we are going to go next into psychology of not sleeping because this is what biology, and now we're going to talk about psychology. The psychology basically, this is where I want you to push back on something that I think most people, and honestly, even most GPs and doctors get wrong about sleep. Most people treat sleep problem as a physical issue. They look for the right mattress, the right pillow, the right temperature, the right melatonin dose, and those things actually matter, but they are not the root. You know, in my 12 years of clinical practice, I can tell you the most persistent, the most exhausting, the most chronic sleep problems are almost always psychological. And there are three patterns that I see over and over again. The first pattern is called hyperarousal. When you live with chronic stress, chronic means for years, work stress, relationship stress, financial stress, parenting stress, your nervous system stays switched on. Your brain is always on in a fight and flight mode. And here is the problem. Your body cannot fight a problem and sleep at the same time. If the problem is always active in your head, how are you going to sleep? Because if you're fighting and finding a solution of that problem. So one of those things has to win. Either you have to find a solution for the problem or either you have to sleep. Your brain cannot do two things at the same time. And if your brain thinks there is a threat out there is a problem out there, it will choose to stay awake every time. And this is not insomnia, this is a survival. Your nervous system is doing exactly what it was designed to do to solve your problems. Okay. The second challenge is called cognitive rumination, the mind that won't shut down. And most of my clients and friends and people I know, and even myself, my brain sometimes does not stop. Ruminators, and a lot of us are ruminators, takes 3 times longer to fall asleep than non-ruminators. 3 times longer. You know that thing where you get into bed and your brain immediately opens 17 tabs. That is rumination. Like you have different tabs open in your brain. Your brain is trying to solve problem. It's trying to prepare. It's trying to protect you. But the problem is 11 p.m. is not the time to solve your problems. You have no new information at 11 p.m. Everything that you are worrying about, you were actually worrying about at 3 p.m. also. 11 a.m. also, and you are worrying about it for a month also. Right now, it's a time to sleep. So your brain is just recycling the same thoughts on a loop and calling it productive as if like I'm gonna figure out the solution. Now, the third thing, and I think not many people know about it, is sleep anxiety. Being afraid of not sleeping. This is very tricky one. This one is also the sneakiest, and I think it affects more people than we even realize. You start worrying about whether you will sleep already. That worry activates anxiety, and that anxiety makes you aroused even more and more alert. The arousal prevents sleep, which makes you more anxious, which makes you more alert, which makes the sleep even further away. So it becomes like a self-fulfilling prophecy, is like the fear that I might not be able to sleep. And because of this fear, then you are not able to sleep. And this is called conditional arousal. And these are the three major psychological reasons that we cannot sleep. Now, here it's the very important one, your personal sleep audit. Okay, I want you to pause here and give you something really useful. We are going to do a quick personal sleep audit together. Okay, so I'm going to read 6 statements. I hope everyone is paying attention to me right now, because for each one, give yourself score. 0 mean never, 1 means sometimes, and 2 means always. Okay, and this is your personal sleep audit. Okay, so the first one is, I struggle to fall asleep even when I am tired. Give a number to this statement, as if like, no, I never struggle. I struggle sometime and I struggle always. Okay. Number 2 is, I wake up in the middle of the night and cannot get back to sleep. Number 3 is, I use my phone or screens within 1 hour of going to sleep. Number 4, I feel anxious or wired when I get into bed. Number 5, I wake up unfreshened even after 7 hours of sleep. I am still tired. Okay. And number 6 says, my sleep varies widely between weekdays and weekends. Weekends, I stay in, I sleep more, but then on the weekdays, I don't have enough sleep. Okay. I'm going to give all of you at least 30 seconds. Take a screenshot of this slide, give a number to yourself, and then if you feel comfortable, you can share that number in the chat box. And if you don't feel comfortable, no need to share. But this slide is actually going to help you to maybe take a little bit something practical out from today, where you can actually understand that if you are doing well or no with your sleep hygiene. Okay, now we learned about sleep is important. We learned about that most of us don't sleep. And if we don't sleep, there is a biology behind it, there is a psychology behind it. So now we are little bit going to learn about what can we do basically. Okay, what are the pillars of sleep hygiene? What is the actual goal of today's session? Okay. These are not the tips from wellness magazines. These are not have a warm bath, drink chamomile tea. These are the 7 pillars of CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia. Okay, and this is why today your clinical psychologist is here to talk about what are the 7 pillars, what can you actually do to actually understand if you are having any type of sleep insomnia. Okay. So the if you want to take a screenshot of this slide also, please go ahead. So the pillar 1 for sleep hygiene is same wake time every single day, not weekdays only, weekends also. And I think most of us, our lifestyle, the way we have learned to live our life is it's okay to sleep more on the weekends. But basically, the biology behind if you sleep more on the weekends and if you don't wake up on the same time, you are going to disturb your circadian rhythm. I know I can feel the resistance because, Saturday, Sunday is something that we feel like, okay, as if I have a control over, as if this is my life is back. Because other than that, most of the days are for someone else. It's for work, it's for other people. But my weekend is my weekend. I want to do what I want to do. But I'm here to tell you that it's very important for you more than that you go to sleep on the same time. It's more important that you wake up at the same time. Okay. The second part is light hygiene. Morning bright light within 30 minutes of waking up, even just standing outside with your coffee, even on a cloudy day, although we don't have more clouds in UAE. Outdoor light is 50 times stronger than indoor light for setting your biological clock. So when you wake up, the first 30 minutes when you are awake from your sleep, you need to get the outdoor light. So even if you get like maybe 5 to 10 minutes of coffee in your balcony or outside, I know it's hot, but remove your curtains, let the light come into your room because it's so important. And the third one is thermal regulation. And I think most of you know your broad body temperature needs to drop by approximately 1 degree Celsius to initiate sleep. This is not optional, this is biological. Cool your bedroom. 18 to 20 degree is the evidence based sweet spot. And here is the interesting part. A warm bath or shower 90 minutes before bed actually helps because the cooling effect afterwards trigger the temperature drop your brain needs. So I think 18 to 20 degree is the best temperature. It's proven by science. The fourth one is cognitive wind down ritual. Now, the most important that I think we don't do it, your brain cannot go from full speed to sleep in 1 second. It can never happen. You need a transition period, a signal, something that tells your nervous system that day is over, we are safe, and now we can rest. The fifth one is a sleep restriction therapy. This one that always gets a reaction, stay with me. The idea you temporarily limit the amount of your time you spend in bed. You go to bed later than you want, not to torture yourself, but to build what we call sleep pressure. You know, think your think about appetite. If you eat a huge lunch, you are not very hungry at dinner. Okay. But if you haven't eaten all day, you know, you will see like what you're gonna do. Like sleep works also the same way. The longer you stay awake, the more your body desperately wants to sleep. And when you lie down, you fall asleep quickly. You stay asleep and you sleep deeply. So basically, when any one of you have a sleep cycle that is not really working properly, I always start from here. First thing first, just start waking up at the same time. Try to get the daylight. Try to understand your temperature. And also, do not take naps. If you struggle to fall asleep, don't take naps. Just keep your body awake, and then your body is actually asking for it. And then the sixth pillar is cognitive restructuring, and it's also again very important one. It's like, what are the thoughts that you have when you cannot sleep? You know, it can be maybe my manager is mad at me, maybe I'm going to lose my job, maybe I have gained weight, maybe my partner doesn't love me, maybe, the regional situation, or maybe the job security, or anything. There must be, I think, 10 different thoughts in your brain when you cannot sleep. And these thoughts actually are not facts. They feel like fact at 2 a.m., but they are just predictions. They are just your ideas. They are not actually logics or facts, usually catastrophic one. And CBT gives us tools to challenge them. It's like, you know, I might not sleep as well as I want tonight, but I have functioned like one less sleep. So CBT tools are basically whenever you observe that I have a negative thought, my negative thought is I cannot sleep. I met my manager in the elevator and I said good morning and he didn't reply to me. So now my brain is thinking why he did not reply. Maybe he is mad at me. Maybe the email I sent, he did not like it. Maybe the work I have done, he did not like it. So he's mad at me. So this is your negative thought in the night that cannot help you to sleep. So the cognitive restructuring is whatever you are thinking is negative, force your brain to think the positive version of it. And it's a difficult one because it requires a lot of discipline and a lot of journaling, a lot of self-regulation. And this is where maybe you need help from your friends or some, sleep journals or maybe from a psychologist. And the last pillar is stimulus control. Your bed should only be associated with two things: bed, sleep, and intimacy. You should not work on your bed. You should not Netflix. You should not scroll. You should not argue, not lying there worrying for hours. You have to associate a bed either with sleep or either with intimacy. That's it. These are the jobs of the bed. So if you are doing anything else on the bed, stop it immediately, starting from today. Because association and stimulus control is very important to associate a relationship with your bed. Now, let's go for it. Is what to actually do in the hour before bed. Okay. And I think most of us we know, but I think most of us we don't do it. Again, I'm not here to tell you anything, any information new, because all of it is available on Google, on ChatGPT. But the only problem is we don't do it. So today, let's take a moment to actually look at our habits. What are we doing to ourselves? 60 minutes before bed. And again, it's not me who's saying, these are the numbers are given by research. So if you really want to fix your sleep hygiene, you need to start doing something about it. So 60 minutes before bed, dim all the lights in your home. Warm, low lighting, no overhead lights. This is you telling your biology that night has arrived. Okay. 45 minutes before bed, do a worry download. Get a physical notebook, write every single worry, every to do thing, everything that is circling in your head, write it down on the notebook and close the notebook. Because I don't know, most of you might not, understand, but this is a science based technique. If you write everything you have in your brain and put it on the physical notebook, your brain will be empty. 30 minutes before bed, phone goes outside the bedroom. And I think most of us don't do it because phone is always on the bedside table, because nowadays we have this excuse, I use it for an alarm. But actually you can use alarm with something else also. 20 minutes before bed, warm shower, gentle stretching, breath work, something physical that anchors your body into the present. 10 minutes before bed, your anchor ritual. Same thing every night. Herbal tea, reading fiction, a few pages of something calm. Let your brain learn this cue. And this cue can be anything, any ritual that you do 10 minutes before sleep. It can also be maybe kissing your partner and saying a good night. Or maybe just if you have children, maybe hug your children, hug your partner. Any any routine that you can have 10 minutes before your bedtime. And single people who don't have partner, maybe read a book, maybe make a ritual 10 minutes before bedtime when you know that now it's time for me to actually go to sleep. Now, I think cliche is a deep breathing. And in every webinar that you have attended with me, we have practiced it. And if it's about anxiety, depression, stress, burnout, or sleep problem, breathing is the first hand solution. You have to take deep breaths throughout your day if you really want to improve your emotional health. And how do we usually take it? 4 seconds we inhale from our nose. 7 seconds we keep that breath in our stomach, and 8 seconds we take that breath out of our nervous system. Let's all do this together at least for 2 deep breaths. So let's all inhale, exhale. One more. Inhale from your nose, exhale. If you have a trouble sleeping, maybe the ritual I was talking about 10 minutes before going to bed, for 10 minutes, take a deep breath. Take maybe 5 to 10 deep breaths, and you will see that your body is much more ready to relax and to go to sleep. Now, sleep and mental health and sleep. Both, it's a two-way street. Honestly, it's a bi-directional relationship. Many of you watching this today may not just be dealing with sleep problems. You might be dealing with anxiety, depression, grief, burnout, trauma, and you may have been told by doctors or by the internet, by your friends that you may need to fix your sleep and everything else will follow. This is partly true, but it is also more complicated than that. Sleep and mental health exist in a bidirectional relationship, meaning they affect each other. Okay. Anxiety makes you hyper aroused and unable to switch off. Depression changes your sleep architecture. And also, poor sleep makes all these things go worst. Okay. It doubles your emotional reactivity, it reduces your ability to regulate, and it makes the hard things feel more hard. Okay. I see this every week in my clinic. Someone comes to me and says, I think I'm depressed. And within the first session, I found out they have not slept properly in 4 months. And sometimes, not always, but sometimes when we start addressing the sleep, the depression begins to lift before we have done anything else. Sleep is not the cure for mental illness, but it is almost always part of the treatment. Because, and it's not only less hours of sleep, by the way. Sometimes, if you have depression, there are atypical symptoms of depression where you start to sleep more. You start to sleep 10 to 13 hours. And in my previous slide, I mentioned that if you don't have a regular time of waking up and sleeping, that is going to affect your mental health as well. And I think in when we do like a question and answer, we can talk about that why more hours of sleep is not healthy for our brain. So research tells us that 7 to 9 hours of good quality sleep is the single biggest protective factor for psychological resilience that we know of, more than exercise, more than diet, more than meditation. So, sleep is not a luxury, sleep is a medicine. And we have to actually pay attention to more than anything, because if you don't sleep, you don't recover. If you don't recover, you cannot function. And if you cannot function, you don't exist. Okay. And I'm going to close our session really fast, but I think it's very important that there are so many myths outside on internet, on everybody. People give us a lot of information about sleep, but today let's bust some myths. Okay. The thing is, the first myth is you can catch up on sleep over weekends. And I can tell you, being a professional, you cannot. Sleep debt cannot be repaid, especially for cognitive functioning. There is no concept in biology and in neuroscience to catch up on a sleep. Okay. The second one is um, alcohol helps you sleep. This is absolutely false. Alcohol suppresses REM sleep. You may fall asleep faster, but wake after 4 hours when the sedative effect wears off. Even more fragmented, even more drowsy or in a bad mood. Okay. Myth is I only need 5 hours. I have adapted because I am young, I am healthy, I have more work to do. So I am good with 5 hours of sleep. But the cognitive testing shows 5 hours of sleepers never adapt. They just lose the ability to perceive their own impairment. They are just in a delusional reality that, I'm okay. But actually, you're not okay. Your biology is getting impacted gradually that you cannot see right now. Myth is night mode on my screen makes it safe. It does not, because it's not only about the light, it's about the reactivity, it's about the thoughts that's happening in the background. um, and the next one is melatonin is a sleep supplement that makes you sleep, but melatonin is a circadian timing signal, not a sedative. High doses worsens the quality. So only like zero point 0.3 mg at the right time outperforms 10 mg dramatically. So if you are taking melatonin from the pharmacy counter without the advice of your doctor, that is also wrong. Okay. So this is our last slide, and we are going to talk about that today. What are you going to do? Your sleep toolkit starting from tonight, not from tomorrow, not from next week, starting from tonight. And let's all plan. Okay. So, one thing, set your anchor, choose a fixed wake time for the next 14 days, non negotiable, even Saturday, even Sunday. Starting from tonight, phone out of the bedroom. I mean, maybe you can do this. Maybe we can stop making excuses. So put your phone, charge outside, buy an alarm clock if needed. This one changes everything, and I promise you. 5-minute worry download, 10 p.m. Write every worry to do list, looping thought on a paper, then close the notebook and walk away. Breathe 4, 7, 8 before the sleep, 3 rounds when you get into the bed. Cool your room, morning light exposure. And this is all we spoke about, right? And I think these are the basic things that you can do to actually protect and make your sleep hygiene better. So, when hygiene is not enough, okay, when your sleep hygiene is not good enough, what is going to happen? Okay, insomnia, uh, waking unfreshened, sleep disturbance, intrusive thoughts, nightmares, sleep problems, and regular use of alcohol or cannabis. So, what can you do about it? If um, I think every doctor you go to, and I have said this in the previous webinars, every doctor you go to, they ask you the same question. Do you sleep for 7 hours? Do you eat healthy? Do you exercise? And these are the questions. And most of us, we know we are supposed to do, we just don't do it. But the thing is, if you are one of that person who sleep well, who eat well, who also exercise, who also do maybe journaling, who also do deep breathing, who also like what we spoke about this sleep hygiene toolkit, you also do most of the things out of it, and still you cannot sleep, and your mental health is not doing well, maybe that is the time that you need to reach out for a professional help. If you have done everything by yourself and you're not able to manage it, there is no harm to actually reach out to a professional, because maybe it's a signal that you are doing everything and it's just not working. Thank you so much, everyone. I'm so glad that we all are here and we spoke about this most important topic that it's a part of our life every day. Our life cannot be life without having a good night's sleep. So I hope that most of you maybe will make a small change. Even you don't have to do everything that we spoke about. Maybe just start doing one thing and make it a habit. And you will see that this one small thing will make a huge difference in your sleep hygiene. I'm here for more 5 minutes. If you have any question, please feel free to ask me either in the chat box or unmute yourself. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Ira. I mean, it's always a pleasure to hear you talk about such interesting things. Definitely,
Thank you.
sleep is the most important thing, and I have personally learned so much, and I have personally started incorporating these tips that you've been giving in all our sessions.
Thank you,
We
Shivani.
do have thank you, thanks a lot, Ira, for your time and effort. So we do have a couple of questions in the chat box already, and we are happy to take more. So if you have any questions, please put in your queries in the chat box. The first one, Ira, so we spoke about the breathing exercises, and one of the attendee would like to know if the breathing exercise can be done if the person is suffering from asthma.
Um, I think it can be done because if someone is suffering from asthma, I'm sure they are on some sort of medication. And as long as if you don't want to take hold it for 7 seconds, if you feel like your chest cannot handle it, hold it for 3 to 4 seconds. But deep breathing can be done even when you have asthma.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
Uh, in terms of supplements, I know we spoke about melatonin. What about magnesium?
Yes, magnesium definitely it helps to improve the quality of our sleep. But I would say you can use these supplements, but you always have to ask yourself this question: why do I need the supplements even at the first place? There must be a reason for that. So try to figure out that reason we spoke about. Is it about your routine, your hygiene, or your brain cannot stop? Or you are just taking the supplements to shut off something that your brain is trying to tell you.
That's right. What about jet lag, Ira? Like, how do we manage that?
Actually, this is a very tricky one. Jet lag, basically, I don't know if you know, people who work in aviations or people who work in shifts or people, who are always on the go, their mental health, not only mental health, their physical health, they are at much more risk, 3% than the regular people who have regular sleep cycles. Which is why, people who work in aviation, they are not even allowed to donate their organs at one stage because their organs are not at that, best state. Um, Jet lag, we have to actually manage ourselves. whenever you are traveling, give yourself a bit of rest. And what I said, to manage the jet lag, you don't need to sleep. You need to be awake on the same time. For example, if you're back in Dubai, rather than sleeping during the day, stay awake during the day and then get a sleep by night. So the more you are going to really deprive yourself, the more you will be able to fall asleep in the night. So it's always a suffering, fixing your jet lag. There is no easy way out of it.
Yeah. So basically, whichever time zone you land in, you
Yes,
follow that time zone.
yes. Try
And
to
you
follow
have
that
to
time
like
zone.
suffer for a few hours and then follow
Yes,
that time zone.
yes,
Okay.
yes.
Perfect. The next person is saying, I can only get 5 hours of sleep at night. Can two 15-minute naps or anything like that help compensate?
No, we spoke about there is no compensation. So if your sleep is only 5 hours, you need to do everything in your capacity to maximize it to 7 hours. If it's 5 hours, there must be something that your body is trying to tell you, either to do with your physical health or your environment or your routine or the thoughts that you have. Because human brain is not designed to function on 5 hours of sleep. So you need to do something to maximize it to minimum 7 hours. And you can do it, believe me. We all can do it. We have to start from somewhere. But
Yeah.
in terms of
Mhm.
sleep, there is no word compensation. It does not exist in the neuroscience dictionary.
Right. Okay, the next person is saying that he typically sleeps for 6 to 7 hours each night, but often wake up feeling very tired and low on energy throughout the day. He always relies on a cup of coffee every morning to function. Should he be concerned about the sleep quality or overall health?
Yes, yes, yes. So I will tell you, it's always a subjective rating, right? So always keep the number 10 out of in your head and ask yourself, if I am in a low energy and if I'm not my best, if I'm not feeling fresh, how much I'm suffering out of 10? It's like 8 or 7 or 6. Because if you have 6 to 7 hours of sleep, you are supposed to wake up fresh. And if you are not fresh, maybe you need to understand what kind of nightmares you are having. Are you able to go into deep sleep or your brain is always awake? You need to pay attention to it because something is happening. There is no way that you get 6 to 7 hours of sleep and you are not fresh. There must be something that you need to look. And we spoke about many things. Check if all of this you are doing and it's good, then maybe you can consult a doctor if needed.
All right. The next person is saying something which is quite scary. If you are able to help, the person is saying, what if someone falls asleep while driving?
Okay. It means if someone falls asleep during driving, it means they are not well rested. Their brain is shutting down. Okay. And our brain is not supposed to shut down when we are driving because we have a learning that it's a danger, it's a risk. So if someone's brain is shutting down on the road, it means their brain is not able to understand and to grasp the consequences of that event. And it's falling asleep. And it's a very dangerous one. It means you have to pay attention what you're doing to yourself.
Yeah. I'm just scrolling through and quickly finding more questions. But meanwhile, a lot of members have sent a lot of thank yous.
Thank you so
And
much, everyone.
people have also requested for the presentation as well as recording. Yes, we do record all our sessions, and you can view them on our YouTube channel. Please
Yes.
reach out to your respective HRs, and we are happy to share the YouTube link with them.
Sure.
A
Thank you so much,
close
everyone. It's
Uh,
always okay. What to do to keep your brain active and build a strong memory? If you really want to build a strong memory, get a 7 hours of sleep and start writing your problems on the paper. You will build a good memory. Life is not complicated actually if we just do these basic things.
right. Ira, we do have a couple of more questions if you're okay to take them.
Sure. Actually, I have a patient in 2 minutes.
Okay, so let's just quickly scroll through it. Actually, the most of the questions are repetitive, so and I believe we've covered all of it. Oh, this is interesting. Does counting backward helps? I've heard people talking about counting backwards or counting sheep to help them fall asleep faster. Does that actually help?
Yes, it actually helps. So basically, what happens when we go onto our bed and our brain is still active, it means there is overthinking happening, right? So we have to distract our brain from overthinking. So what we usually recommend is counting backward. Counting backward, and I always recommend count backward from 200 by skipping one. For example, 200, 198, 196, 194, 192, 190. So go backward. So this actually just distract us from the thought that was preventing us from sleeping. So it does help. But for some people, it actually make them more attentive. So it really feels like you have to understand if it works for you or no, because it's not a one-way solution for everybody.
Right. What about power naps, Ira? Does it help? Like even if people have
Yes,
slept properly, it
yes,
does,
yes, yes,
right?
yes, yes. Power naps are actually recommended in neuroscience, especially after your lunch if you are able to take 15 minutes of power nap. But people with depression and anxiety, please do not take a power nap because you have to ask yourself if you took a power nap and you woke up more anxious, more low, bit angry, agitated, it means something is off with your brain chemistry. So don't take a power nap in that case. If you wake up fresh, then you take it. But there is nothing wrong in taking it.
Right.
I am
That's a
so
great
sorry,
point, Ira.
everyone. There are lots of questions and we don't have
Yes, I was
enough
just
time.
saying that we won't be able to take all the questions due to time constraint, but feel free to reach out to Ira directly
And
if you
please,
like.
everyone, if you feel like all the South Asian communities from Nepal, Bangladesh, people who understand Urdu, Hindi, I have my podcast channel on Instagram that you can follow. It's called Irade, and I share a lot of tips there related to mental health. You can follow me on Instagram, or you can follow Mir Clinic, or you can reach out to me through Instagram, anything. And we also have direct billing with so many insurance companies. So if you ever need a therapy session or psychiatric help, please feel free to reach out to Mir Psychiatric Clinic.
That's lovely. Thanks a lot for your time, Ira.
Thank
And
you. Thank you,
thank
Shivani.
you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thanks to
Bye bye.
all the attendees for taking out time as well.
Thank you. Bye
Wishing you a
bye.
great day ahead. Thank you.
Thank you.